Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and for the second day in the row, I'm doing another emergency little video here, not in my studio, and it is about the Tory leadership contest because, shockingly, James Cleverly, who was an absolute dead cert to go through to the final ballot and actually was looking good to win the whole thing, is out. So I'm going to explain what's happened and what I think, and I'm not the only one, but what I think has happened here, and basically it's a strategic cock-up on James Cleverly's part. He's thrown it all away. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily political commentary, please click the like button and subscribe. So the results, Tory leadership round are through. And it was, let me just remind you where we were set up. So after the conference, James Cleverly had the best of the conference. I'm just going to put up quickly a survey that was done by Conservative Home related to the conference, which shows, you know, they were asked, did the party conference change your mind about any of the candidates, and would it make you more likely to vote for them or less likely to vote for them? And the blue bars are more likely and the pink bars are less likely. And the only one whose conference made people more likely to vote for him was basically James Cleverly. 55% thought they'd be more likely to vote for him, only 14% less likely. All of the other candidates, the net effect was negative. That all of the other candidates failed to really advance their campaigns with the conference. And the big factor was, just getting rid of that, James Cleverly was calling for the party to become more normal. This was clearly resonating with some. And we even had some panic. So what happened in yesterday's result? Yesterday we had the results were that, so Robert Jenrick and Kemi Badenoch were basically leading the field through the first couple of rounds. And then James Cleverly suddenly overshot both of them. So in yesterday's round of voting, the penultimate one before it goes to the members, he suddenly shot to the top. And in a way, it wasn't a huge surprise, because the previous candidate to be knocked out was Mel Stride, a moderate. So it makes sense that most of those supporters would then shift their votes to the moderate who was deemed to have the best chance, James Cleverly. But it clearly shocked Badenoch and Jenrick, because both of them had a knee-jerk reaction today. Robert Jenrick went on the media to call for, we should we should be focusing on the things that the public want us to do, like the economy and the NHS and borders. We should stop going down rabbit holes. And it's like Robert Jenrick was the guy who'd been spelunking down rabbit holes for the past few months. I mean, culminating in attacking the ECHR by saying it was causing the British military to run a campaign of murder. It was absolutely out there, completely out there. And I thought today's media performance from Jenrick was him panicking, realising that James Cleverly's appeal to be more normal had resonated with members. And he was thinking to himself, hang on a minute, I'm not even guaranteed to get through to the final round here. And if I do, the members are warming more to Cleverly than they are to me. That he'd maybe gone too far in his bid to be the crazy candidate. Kemi Badenoch, on the other hand, nowhere to be seen. She was nowhere to be seen on the media round. It was supposed, and I think they're probably right in supposing this, that because she's not very good as a media performer, she just keeps picking fights, she's very petulant, that the best thing she could do was steer clear of any interviews. So in their own ways, both Robert Jenrick and Kemi Badenoch both hid away. So the way it was set for today, James Cleverly, I mean, the last one to go out was Tom Tugendhat. He's also seen as a moderate. It would just take a few Tom Tugendhat supporters to vote for James Cleverly, and he was definitely through. He only needed 3 more votes to be guaranteed of going through no matter what else happened. So James Cleverly, I mean, there was one reported this morning describing James Cleverly as 99.99% certain to go through. And that was probably a fair assessment. So then we have this. I'm going to put up all the rounds. This is what's happened. If we go straight to 4th round, that's what's just happened today. So Kemi Badenoch has now jumped to the top with 42 votes. Robert Jenrick on 41 votes. James Cleverly on 37. Yesterday he got 39. So he lost 2 votes from yesterday. Now James Cleverly hasn't slipped up. He hasn't slipped on any banana skins in the last 24 hours. So there's no real reason for him to have lost 2 votes, and there's definitely no reason for him not to have picked up any of those Tom Tugendhat votes. So what's happened? Almost certainly what's happened here. James Cleverly, his team, probably thought that he had a better chance of beating Robert Jenrick on the final ballot than Kemi Badenoch. So James Cleverly thinks he's going to vacuum up a load of Tom Tugendhat's votes. So some of his supporters, this is almost certainly what's happened, some of his supporters have thought, right, it was a bit close yesterday between Kemi Badenoch and Robert Jenrick. Okay, Robert Jenrick was 1 vote ahead. So they think the members probably prefer Badenoch to Jenrick. So I think what's happened, and I'm not the only one who said this, is some of Cleverly's supporters, or some of even some of Tom Tugendhat's supporters, who would of course prefer James Cleverly to be in the final round, have decided they want to make sure Kemi Badenoch is not. So clearly some of them have backed Badenoch. Now I did say yesterday, because you can see here, Robert Jenrick has also picked up a lot of votes. He got 31 yesterday, he's got 41 today. So he's effectively picked up half of the Tom Tugendhat votes net. And I did suggest there may well be some Tom Tugendhat supporters who would vote for Robert Jenrick in the belief that he's not really the far-right nut job that he's claiming to be. Because a couple of years ago, he seemed to be a fairly committed right-of-centre, I mean, I'm not sure moderate's quite the right word with Robert Jenrick, but certainly centre-right type conservative, not particularly liberal, but centre-right in terms of his economic attitudes and attitudes to a few other things. So yeah, I said I could absolutely see some Tugendhat votes going there, but the fact that so many of them appear to have gone to Kemi Badenoch is that's the real shock, because you can imagine them going to Jenrick in the belief that Cleverly has a better chance of beating Jenrick than Badenoch with members. I cannot for the life of me work out how Kemi Badenoch ended up with so many extra votes there, unless the opposite view was actually the case amongst some Tory MPs. Maybe they actually thought that James Cleverly had a better chance against Kemi Badenoch, because this is really bizarre. But what has definitely happened, because you can see Cleverly's gone from 39 to 37, that is almost certainly a couple of votes peeling off and going, I tell you what, you've got enough votes to get through, we'll just make sure Jenrick goes through with you. What a cock up. And it's genuine. And if that hasn't happened, it really is flummoxing, because this is incredible, absolutely incredible. What we've ended up with, and this should be impossible, what we've ended up with is the 2 far-right candidates. Because if we go right back to the beginning of the leadership round, so Kemi Badenoch and Robert Jenrick, very much the far-right candidates, but we also had Priti Patel. Now, Priti Patel, her leadership campaign was a little bit weird, because she seemed to be coming out with some quite moderate statements. She was defending immigration, and you know, and she was defending Black Lives Matter, at least in terms of their protest tactics. So there was a lot of weird stuff coming out. But if we nonetheless think that she basically appeals to the far right, she's not a moderate. So we had Kemi Badenoch, Robert Jenrick there, and Priti Patel adding up to 64 votes, which is about half. And then we had James Cleverly, Tom Tugendhat and Mel Stride, who were sort of the moderate ones there. What is this adding up to here? That's like 33, 54 votes. So yeah, you could argue the far right sort of seem to have more votes than the moderates, but you can only get 2 candidates at the end of it. And if you think that the moderate votes would have gone to a moderate candidate and the far right votes to the far right candidate, then that would have meant at the end of it 1 far right candidate, 1 moderate candidate, because the far right did not have 2/3 of the votes. And yet that's what they've ended up with. What we've literally seen here is we've ended up with the far right effectively garnering 2/3 of the votes, which is incredible. Because there are, if you were to go down the list of MPs, Tory MPs, and I've not done this, but some some people have done this and characterised them according to whether they're sort of one nation centre-right Tories or far-right or the bits in the middle. There's only about a third of the parliamentary party are what you would call far-right. They've ended up with a lot of votes there. And this will be almost certainly misdirected strategic voting. I cannot think of any other explanation. It's almost certainly strategic voting that has gone badly wrong. And it's particularly embarrassing because when you've got so few Tory MPs, there's only 121 Tory MPs, 120 votes effectively because Rishi Sunak said he would not be voting in them, and it actually looks like he kept his word because what we have here is 120 votes cast in the final round. In a situation like that, I mean, there's not many MPs. It should have been easy for them to coordinate. Right, we'll vote for them, and you lot vote for them, and and to fix the final round. It's gone badly wrong, badly wrong. So, and there was me getting ready to pretty much have James Cleverly nailed on as the one who was probably going to win the leadership contest because he seemed to appeal most to members at this point. So it's back to them. My bet's still on, by the way, because I had a bet on Robert Jenrick winning. And I'm going to have to say, just putting my Labour hat on again, Labour will be delighted at this. Absolutely delighted. I said yesterday, I don't think they would have feared any of the candidates, but do you know what? James Cleverly would have been the trickiest for them. Robert Jenrick is very awkward. He's incredibly awkward, and even within his own party, they don't quite trust him. He's going to get caught out quite a bit. There's a few scandals attached to his name as well. Bit of Tory corruption mixed in there. Kemi Badenoch, as one Tory MP said a couple of weeks ago, she can start a fight in an empty room. She's not a good media performer. She's not good in debates. She's going to pick fights with her own side. Whichever one wins, Labour will be delighted with. But there it is. Shocking day. Another shocking day there. It's down to the members now. It all goes off to the members. It depends which one they prefer. At the moment, you would say probably Kemi Badenoch. But who knows? Who knows? My bet's still on. But there we go anyway. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to put your comments down below. And, of course, click the subscribe button and the like button as well, assuming you liked it. If you got this far, you liked it, let's be honest. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can also press the join button for memberships. And until next time, thanks very much for listening, and I will see you later.